Today, we're going to talk about a journey that is, well, profoundly difficult, but it's also one of just incredible love and courage. We're talking about the experience of bereavement after losing someone you love to ALS. It's a story that's not just about loss, but about resilience and ultimately about healing. In this quote, wow, it just perfectly captures the spirit of what we're going to be discussing. It's a powerful reminder that this whole journey isn't just about an ending. It's really about how life is lived, even in the face of an immense challenge, and the incredible legacy that leaves behind. You see, what makes grief in the world of ALS so unique, so complex, is that it's a process that starts months, sometimes even years, before a loved one actually passes away. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through that entire journey, from its toughest depths all the way to the path toward healing. So let's start with this very idea, what many call the long goodbye. This is all about the experience of grieving while you are still right there in the thick of it as a caregiver. And just to get a sense of the scale here, at any given time, there are about 30,000 people in the United States living with ALS. Now, that's not just a statistic. That means tens of thousands of families are on this journey, navigating all of its emotional and physical demands every single day. And this experience, it actually has a name. It's called anticipatory grief. It's not about mourning a loss that's way off in the future. It's about grieving this series of smaller, painful losses that happen all along the way. The loss of physical abilities, of shared dreams, of a voice, of the future you thought you were going to have together. This journey is often marked by a series of really painful milestones. In each one, from the initial shock of the diagnosis to the first time a cane is needed, then the wheelchair, and then the use of a communication device. Every single one represents a real, tangible loss that families are mourning in real time. So, what happens in the period after that final loss? Well, you enter what can really only be described as a storm of emotions, because the grief that follows is anything but simple. It is not linear at all. After the loss, caregivers often feel a whole spectrum of things. It's not some neat set of stages you go through. It's more like a turbulent mix of disbelief, anger at this horrible disease, bargaining with all the what-ifs, and of course, this deep, profound sadness. But that tapestry also includes guilt, and this is so important, relief. And this right here highlights a huge internal conflict. So many caregivers struggle with this immense guilt, just wondering, could I have done more? But at the very same time, they can feel a powerful sense of relief that the suffering has finally ended, both for their loved one and for themselves. It is so vital to understand that this feeling of relief is a normal, completely valid response. And the impact of this journey is incredibly long-lasting. Research actually shows that up to 37% of bereaved family members report feeling that they are coping poorly, even years after the loss. This isn't a grief that just neatly fades away. Its emotional toll really persists. This leads us to a really difficult question. How do you rebuild a life after the all-consuming role of caregiver just ends? This next section is all about exploring those practical and personal challenges. Just the financial strain alone can be absolutely astronomical. The annual cost of care for someone with ALS can easily exceed $250,000. And what that does is it often completely depletes family savings, leaving survivors with significant debt long after their loved one is gone. The challenges are truly coming from every direction. Psychologically, there's a high risk of prolonged grief and even PTSD-like symptoms from witnessing so many traumatic medical events. Physically, caregivers have often neglected their own health for years. Socially, there's this intense isolation. And maybe one of the biggest challenges of all is just rediscovering your own identity when that all-consuming role of caregiver is suddenly gone. But, and this is a really important but, amidst all these immense challenges, there is a path forward. Our next section is going to focus on those pathways to healing with some real actionable strategies for coping and rebuilding. The journey to healing can actually be broken down into some manageable steps. Okay, so step 1, just acknowledge all of your feelings without judging them. Step 2, find your community, because connecting with people who truly get it is invaluable. 3, Prioritizing your own physical health is absolutely essential. And finally, 4, finding ways to honor your loved one's memory can really help transform that grief into a productive, positive force. Underneath all of these steps is one foundational idea: self-compassion. Being kind to yourself, allowing yourself the space and time to grieve and heal, that isn't a luxury. It's an absolute necessity. And this brings us to our final section, because despite the immense loss, this journey leaves behind something incredibly powerful and enduring, an unbreakable legacy of love and courage. You know, ALS is often described as a thief, robbing a person of their physical abilities. But this quote, this gets right to the heart of it. What the disease can never, ever take away are the things you can't see: the strength of the human spirit and the power of love. And you see this spirit embodied in the lives of so many amazing people. Folks like Bruce Kramer, who used a podcast to share his journey of living fully with ALS. Or Jenny Barabitsky, who completed marathons from her wheelchair. They show that purpose can flourish even in the face of incredible decline. So ultimately, the story of ALS isn't just one of tragedy. The grief, over time, can begin to transform into gratitude. Gratitude for the lessons learned, for the love that was shared, and for the extraordinary courage that was witnessed. And that legacy, it inspires everyone it touches to live just a little bit more fully. And that leaves us with one final question to just sit with. In the face of a journey that holds so much pain, but also so much profound, unbreakable love, how do we best honor every single part of that experience? The answer, I think, is a testament to the very deepest parts of the human spirit: